Did you hear her say something? Okay. Can you hear us, Jameen?
Yes, I can hear you, sorry.
Okay, no, you're good.
I lost you for a minute.
Are we ready to just keep passing? Keep passing. Okay. It's like, is it something I'm supposed to look at? Yeah. Thanks.
Aaron,
Yes.
Patty Anderson said she didn't get the link. Did you send it to her?
Well,
Did you send anything?
She's right here,
My
so.
husband pulled in when I was sending you an email.
Oh.
So that's
Okay,
why I
yeah.
needed to have that happen. It's the only thing I don't write today.
Okay, Aaron, I'm gonna put you up here. I don't know if I connected this since we had the new password. I think it's set, it's trying to go, there we go. I know I have it somewhere, but I know you know it all. Thank you, sir. Would you like an M&M?
He paid £300 if we took all our food.
Yeah.
There's caramel, is it caramel? No, doing caramel. But I don't want to send you into apple shop. Eli already took Eric or Trevor one time, remember?
Yes.
To the hospital.
Maybe I get it.
You're the best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you there.
All right, I have 6 o'clock. So we're gonna get started this evening. Thanking everybody who could make it. At this time, we will have our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a moment of silence. And at this time, I'll ask Tammy to call the roll call.
Patty Anderson.
Present.
Carrie Armstrong.
Here.
Megan Dreher. Brady Fight. Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Jermaine Stone.
Here.
Eric Sunland.
Here.
Kelly Tologa.
Here. And I also want to make note that in the meetings, I know we did it for the workshop, but we also want to make note in the actual meeting that we had an executive session on February 2nd, I believe it was, for personnel reasons. And at this time, we're going to break for an executive session for personnel reasons. The board is going to break to the boardroom for a Zoom call. So I believe Aaron will have to stop this particular Zoom call, and then we'll rejoin you once we have our executive session completed. All right, thank you for your patience as we had to break for an executive session. So we are going to move into the waiving, if you want to waive the reading and then approve the official minutes from the January 9th workshop meeting and the January 16th regular voting meeting. Do I have a motion to do that?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion or anything that you would like changed? Moved and seconded, all in agreement? Aye. Jameen, can you hear us?
Yeah, I missed that one. I just got logged on, sorry.
Okay.
What was that vote for?
Approving the minutes from the last month.
Okay,
Are you in favor?
yes.
Okay. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Do we have any public participation this evening? I don't see any. We'll move on. We do have information there about a presentation that we had last Monday concerning some insurance questions. So that's noted. I don't believe we have any other presentations this evening. So we'll move on to board concerns. Okay.
I would encourage, I think this is the way to go, the technology committee to take a look at, accessibility on the Wi-Fi. And I know there's other bigger pieces on this, maybe it's already been discussed. But I had several parents, call me, in concern that they don't have good communication with their kids because of the service around here. The Wi-Fi is how they communicate. And then I just coincidentally was here after a sporting event and there was some injuries and the parents that were visiting could also not get, hey, meet me at the hospital kind of messages out as well. And I just feel like in the day and age of technology, we should have the ability to have proper use. So from the kids side, from the youth side on this, I would encourage, we've got to start teaching them appropriate use. And I don't know where and how you find that, so I'm going to defer to the committee on that. But then from the public side, we have a lot of things, community-based, school-based activities that if that enables one person to communicate appropriately in a crisis, it's got to be worth it.
So would that tie basically into being able to use their cell phones because they have to access the Wi-Fi to call?
Have to be, right?
Because without Wi-Fi, a lot of the cell phones are dead in this area. So I'm
Correct.
assuming that's what you're looking at.
But are you talking about evenings or during the day as well?
I don't have a good answer during the day, okay? It seems to me that during the day, if you say, put your phone on your desk and you appropriately don't use it, face down, then it's there, okay? I don't know, okay? My world's a little different than what the teachers live with, right? But we've got to start teaching them, you don't sit here and do this when somebody's trying to talk to you and teach. So if we don't start teaching it now, when are they going to learn that skill? We've got to break the habits. I'm not saying it's the school's responsibility to do that, but they can be a helper in that.
So when parents they were basically discussing the fact that when they're here on campus, they lose connectivity because of no Wi-Fi.
Right.
Okay.
And that's where my head also went to, well, maybe we just need to start working on better and appropriate use. Because I know the kids that walk around, they walk right out in front of the car if they could, or if somebody didn't stop, you know. But more importantly, they've got to start learning that our face-to-face communication is a skill that we have got to start garnering in a better manner. And that while technology is good, we know how to appropriately use it, right, Janine? So, you know, there's ways to use things appropriately, and we need to help them to discern those differences. And that includes, and I know I sent a note to Dr. Gibbet about sexting. You know, they've got to learn all those, there's a lot of pieces, social media, all those pieces go into that. And I think pathways is who's going to come in and address that, right? Passages, wrong one. Wrong keyword, yes. Was going to come in perhaps to discuss some of that stuff, but we've got to model it for them as well, my opinion on that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other board concerns? Okay, not seeing any, we're gonna move to the consent agenda. So we have items A through N on the consent agenda this evening. Are there any items you would like to be pulled from the consent agenda and voted on separately? Anything that you would like to vote on separately? Not seeing any. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on any items on the consent agenda? Not hearing any. All those in favor? Aye. Jameen? Did we lose you?
Yes, no, I'm here, yes, that's fine.
Okay. All those opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move on to finance and purchase at this time. And I'll ask Carrie if she can do that.
I'm gonna lump together, I guess A through paying the bills. I guess I'll lump through down to H. I make a motion that we pay those. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any discussion on anything? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Cafeteria report.
Okay, I promised you last month that I would send you out the National School Lunch Program numbers, and you'll see attached to the memo that you would have. There is a district, by district numbers, and then there's the high school numbers and elementary numbers, all for the months of November, December, and January. So you'll look through and see where our reimbursements where our numbers are as far as free, reduced, and paid lunches for those months. We did have our second quarter superstar luncheon on February 9th with, I think it should have been 3 little girls, but I think one was absent. So we had 2. We did have our first wellness committee meeting on the 14th. I also attended a webinar for the community eligible provision on the 14th, and I'm anxious to see what numbers they will send out to us from the state to see if we're eligible for that this year or not. We should have those numbers by mid-April. And also, Lent snuck up on us a little bit, but I do have Lent meals for Ash Wednesday and the first Friday of Lent this month. And then they will be on the March menu. So we do have that happening. I wanted to update as well. I applied for and received, they called it a mini grant, but actually was more of a donation award for the backpack program. And we received a $250 check for that back in, I believe, December. And they received a donation and we're able to double that amount for each recipient. So we just did receive another $250 for our backpack program. So that award ended up being a total of $500 from the Pennsylvania Regional Food Service Director Organization. Also, being a part of that, it allows one of our graduating seniors that will be going into mentoring future food service industry leaders or pioneering from the organization. If we belong to this, there are 2 $2,000 scholarships to graduating seniors. And I believe McKenna Armagos actually won one of these scholarships. So that information for that scholarship has been passed on to Minnie Love, and she was going to pass it on to any student that may meet the criterion for this award. Also, the SCA grant, our supply chain assistance grant. Dr. McDivitt and I sat through a training last school year and then sat down and applied for the grant, and we received a $15,950 and 20-cent grant was our first award. Then this year they decided to carry on to those awards, and because we applied last year, we got 2 more for this year, so we received one for $14,995.33, and then a third one for $9,580.54, and those have to be spent strictly on milk, fresh fruit, fresh produce, or very, very minimally produced foods. Up to this point, from September to January, we have spent out the first grant and we have $5,000 left of the second. So from September to January, just in milk and fresh fruit, and that's all I've used it for, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, milk. We've spent $25,925.38 of the whole total. And I have $14,600.69 left for February through May, but I must have money spent out by September. With what we've gone through the first half of the school year, I don't see spending that much going to be a problem. But I think it's really been a huge help with the cost of fruits and vegetables right now. It's been a godsend to be able to have that and still be able to order all that fresh stuff for our kiddos. And even the canned stuff right now is even running more than our fresh. Right now it's running just about $62 for 6 big cans of fruit. So it's incredibly expensive. So I'm very thankful for that grant. But I did tell you that I would update you and let you know where we were in those months. And that's where we are, and that's all I have. Unless anybody has a
I
question.
have a question, is that grant available because of that?
The SCA funds, it was supposed to just be for 1 year. They extended it, and what it is, it's a supply chain assistance grant. So unless there's supply issues, I see that coming to an end this school year. I kind of have hope because they said we have till September to spend it. And with the end of the fiscal year being June,
So I can look at this, yeah.
I can't, I believe it did come from the SCA and PE. I know the training that it take was through PE.
And the other question I have is there a bonus for the school to take, product from, so there's potentially a food bank association? Is there ability to have a private school that has benefits, take stuff to them?
I would have to look into that, but I think because we get reimbursed, I'm not sure that's an option, and we have to bid all of our programs. And that's one thing that's nice that the food service organization does versus they do all the bidding. Our commodities go there, our reimbursements come through there. So that's something I can look into, but yeah, that would be great. I would absolutely look into that.
Great questions to ask for. And then the other one is, do you take donations for backpacks?
Mrs. Daly will take those. All the donations for the backpack program, I believe, go straight through Mrs. Daly.
And it's cash.
Mrs. Daly, and I think then Mrs. Daly brings those to Mrs. Stewart, am I correct on that, Andrea? For the donations for backpack, or if they want to do cash.
The school nurses,
Yeah, that's what I figured, that all goes through Paul and Mrs. Daly. This was just.
And that Patty, we
something that
accept
came
all
through.
donations whenever they come.
I win the lottery.
This was just, they had sent out an email and said, hey, we're awarding so many backpack grants, so fill it out, so I did, and we got lucky, we just got one that happened to be double the amount this year than the other one.
We've been looking at a statewide issue with that.
That would be great.
Okay, letter J, consideration to approve accepting as presented at the January 16th, 2023 regular voting meeting by Mark C. Turnley, CPA, the single audit for the year ended on June 30th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter K, consideration to approve the donation to the AC Valley Art Department in the amount of $100 from Mattered CPA LLC in appreciation of an art contest as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter L, consideration to approve the donation to the backpack program / cafeteria in the amount of $250 from the Pittsburgh Regional Food Service Directors to assist small local food banks and backpack / weekend food programs as they work directly with our students as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter M, consideration to approve the E-rate application process for Category 2 funding for the 2023-2024 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter N, consideration to approve purchasing a Chevy Equinox contingent upon the PCCB Safe School Grant. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter O, consideration to approve the exoneration of the 2022-2023 taxes related to property owned by Allegheny Township and assessed at tax map number 020-1F47-10A. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Diane, I'm going to skip around here tonight, so we're going to give you personnel.
Okay. A, consideration to retroactively accept the letter of resignation as a child-specific aid from Beth Pence dated January 17th, 2023. Beth's last day in this position was February 3rd, 2023, as attached. So moved.
Did I hear a second?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
B, consideration to retroactively accept a letter of resignation as assistant varsity football coach from Pine Terwilliger dated February 10th, 2023, as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
C, consideration to approve advertising for an assistant varsity football coach. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
That was okay.
That's the one Klein's leaving.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
D, consideration to approve advertising for a long-term substitute cafeteria worker. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
E, consideration to approve the change of assignment for Ashley Miller from autistic support life skills classroom teacher to intervention specialist, special education teacher, letter of interest attached, beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded.
I would have discussion, so I didn't want to second, so. my
Okay, any
question-
discussion?
Yes, is that for next fall?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That way there's not as much disruption.
That's what my concern was.
Yes.
On that, I want to make sure we didn't.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
F, consideration to approve advertising in-house for a K through 6th grade special education teacher to fill the autistic support life skills classroom beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
G, consideration to approve hiring Jamie Preston upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as junior high baseball coach at a supplemental salary of $878. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
H, consideration to approve hiring Dean Whitmer upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as junior high softball coach at a supplemental salary of $878. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I, consideration to approve hiring Leo Marin upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as varsity boys golf coach at a supplemental salary of $1,510. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
J, consideration to approve hiring William Strasser upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as the varsity girls golf coach at a supplemental salary of $885. So moved.
Second, but I have discussion, sorry.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So, my question is, why is there a difference between the two?
It's
For
based,
the
our pay scale is based on years of experience. So depending on the years of experience they've had in the position before, that pay scale is adjusted. So Leo's been quite involved before, that's why his salaries seem so much larger than some of the other ones. That's a question. We have a scale for that, so. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, consideration to approve hiring Caleb Manross upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as junior high volleyball coach at a supplementary salary of $878. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thanks for asking that question. I debated whether I should explain that for the public or not, but that's why. The salary is different.
L, consideration to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District, Allegheny Clarion Valley Education Association, and Scott Tulio effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2025 as attached. So moved.
Give me a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
M, consideration to approve hiring Stacy Redding upon receipt of all appropriate documentation as weight room supervisor, 3 hours per day when school is in session, and an hourly wage of $7.25 per hour. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
N, consideration to approve hiring Courtney Chalmers upon receipt of all appropriate documentation for the vacated secretarial accounts payable position at a salary of $32,500. Salary is to be prorated for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item
Do we have to now vote to advertise that vacated position rather than wait till April?
That'd be a good idea to do that.
Okay, so we'll add that under new business. Okay, Jeff, I'm gonna bounce back to you.
All right,
Everybody gets a turn tonight, so you may get twice, you never know.
I only do once.
That's why I brought M&M, so I can bribe you for tonight.
Instructional services, elementary.
So just a few things tonight. We are 2 weeks into our 10-week collaboration with Vantage Educational Service and the Slippery Rock University Occupational Therapy Program. Those are the occupational therapy students that are coming in and doing some field experience here in our building. They're working with students in grades K through 6 each Friday for 10 weeks for about 10 to 15 minutes. And they do lessons on things about feelings, friendship, how to be responsible on social media, those kinds of things. So far, it seems to be going well. The kids are responding well to the interns and seem to be enjoying their lessons. And I haven't heard any complaints about it, so that's always a good thing too. We also started our Q3 after school program that we fund with the grant money. That started on February 13th. It focuses on ELA and math. On Monday and Tuesday nights, they do ELA, and on Wednesday and Thursday nights, they do math. In the ELA portion, they use the program Read Naturally, which is a science of reading-based program where students read passages individually, and then they read them aloud to teachers, and then they work on reading skills like reading fluency, accuracy, comprehension. And then math is using the Bridges program, which is kind of a pilot. Trevor just purchased that program with some grant money, so he's piloting it. He agreed to work the after-school program and the summer program if I let him get this program. So we worked out that deal. So he's piloting it right now and then plans to use it this summer. Even with one weekend, they were very pleased with how it went at the beginning. So they're liking the new program. We have 5 teachers who are working that and 37 students that signed up this year. So that's our largest crew yet. We have 30 students on ELA nights and 34 students on math nights. I did have on here about our Q2 Superstar Luncheon that Stacy mentioned. And just to give a shout out to those 2 girls by name, it was Kenley Master and Caitlin Welter that I got to enjoy lunch with on February 9th. There was an additional superstar who was absent that day, so she will get to enjoy the Q3 luncheon with the other Q3 superstars. And I wanted to say thanks to Mrs. Redding and her staff for always giving us special treatment on that day. And I do have one transportation thing. Do you want me to do that now?
Doesn't matter. If you want to, you may
I'll
do
just
it
do it
now.
now, so then I'll put it all in. And maybe David has this in his report too, but this Friday, we're going to hold a transportation meeting, 1 in the morning with the bus contractors and drivers, and then another one at 10 o'clock for the van contractors and drivers to discuss bus safety and security. I had talked with Dave Sittler and said that I felt like it was an area that we have sort of neglected in talking about, what to do in case of, an active event here on campus. What if the buses are coming onto campus or if they're on campus? We've not really ever considered that piece. So David and Dave both brought some good ideas to the table, and we sat down and created a PowerPoint and then put together a flip chart for them, what to do in different scenarios of emergencies. So we have that program ready for them this Friday.
Sounds like a
And I
great
saw
idea.
that Dave Sittler mentioned that in his report tonight too. So and that's all that I have for today.
Thank you. Dr. Jordan, secondary report.
I'd like to mention that our last mentoring meeting will be March 3rd. I will have a summary report in our March meeting about that. The mentor meetings this year have been a very good success in being able to understand the needs of the students when it comes to the senior project and trying to get them to meet those criteria for graduation. In April, we will have our senior graduation projects, and I will report on that as well after those are finished. It'll be interesting to see what they look like, being that we haven't had projects like this for a number of years now. As you can see from tonight's field trip request, there are a lot of trips at the high school that are tied to going to colleges. There's one there for going to Triangle Tech. These are great experiences for our students to be able to, number one, get some of those experiences from the colleges and from those tech schools to meet that graduation requirement. But it also meets our pathways for these kids too, in regards to our post-secondary career outlooks. So we appreciate
that.
that.
Towards the job shadowing hours, is that what those components count towards when they go?
No, they go for the actual college or career exploration type thing.
And is that a separate?
That's separate.
That's separate on that.
That's separate. And a lot of our students don't have licenses, even up into 11th grade, even some of our seniors don't have licenses. So these trips are crucial for that part of it. So, I want to extend my thanks from myself and from Mrs. Lowe for all of you approving those trips. Our career planning for the career fair is going along quite nicely. We currently have over 40 speakers verified to come to our career day. We are in the process of preparing a survey for the students. And what that will look like is, what are you interested in hearing? what careers are you interested in finding out about? And once we get those back, we will be able to actually schedule and structure how it looks in the high school. And that will be based upon the needs of the presenter. So for instance, if somebody from engineering is presenting and a lot of students are interested in that, we have to schedule that all out in a bigger room with the technology that person may need to do that. So there's a lot on our plates right now. It's only a month away, and just a lot to look through and to try to organize. We're trying to meet and look at every career cluster. There are 16 of them, and so far we think we have representatives from every one of those clusters. Under athletics, the winter sports season is over. Students are already looking forward to spring sports, and it'll officially start on March 6th. The one big update that I have on athletics is Dave Sherman and myself met with representatives from Union today regarding cooperative agreements in basketball. We looked specifically at what it looks like now, what our needs are, what are the pros, what are the cons, and looking specifically at numbers of students that are participating. Throughout the discussion, the one thing that we kept saying, are we in our programs, are we just surviving, or do we want to thrive? And even though you may have numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean that your programs are thriving. And I'll give you an example here. The girls program currently, if the same girls that are playing now continue to play next year, we'll have seniors that'll move on. But if the same ones that are playing now continue to play next year, we would move or have 5 returning athletes for our varsity and our junior varsity program. So obviously that doesn't work.
That's just at AC, right?
At AC, yes. Union has 6. So both of our girls' programs, they don't have enough to even have a program. They would be just playing varsity ball, and that would be hoping that nobody gets injured. That's what it looks like in girls. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, our boys' numbers are really big. Our boys' numbers are much better, but the same scenario for the varsity and JV program, our boys would have 11 returning athletes. Union would have 12. Now, in typical years, what we've done is when the junior high kids, junior high encapsulates 7th grade, 8th grade, and a lot of 9th graders. Because we need the numbers, we pulled some of those 9th graders up into junior varsity territory, and then move kids that normally would be junior varsity into the varsity just to cover everything. We have a lot of kids, especially in this year's junior high program. However, when talking with the coaches and talking with Mr. Sherman, there are not a lot of kids that we would feel comfortable moving into the varsity program. And Union is the same way. What we would like for this board to consider, and they'll be talking about it over at Union also, is co-oping in both girls and boys basketball for next year. What we could do to accommodate those 9th graders that are just on the cusp of being able to play in the JV program, but not quite, is to create a 9th grade team. So we would have 7th and 8th for junior high. We would have 9th grade team, and there are plenty of schools around that have 9th grade teams. And then we would have a full JV and varsity program if we did that. Just want to put a bug in your ear regarding that, and I would like to work with Union over the next month to create some documents that you could look at that would move forward with that code. Does anybody have any questions? That's a lot of information to throw at you.
Is the transportation, I know we keep asking that question because the more we keep adding, the more that's getting bogged down.
Yes, transportation is just, don't want to speak for Lori or for Dave. I know Dave, it drives him crazy. It's a lot. It is a lot.
I just don't welcome my world. Winter, it wouldn't be as, quite as bad. I mean, there is junior high basketball going on as well. Where we're really kind of in a pickle is this spring.
Yeah,
He came down yesterday and said, your teachers are turning in all these requests for buses for their field trips that don't get back till after the school day ends, and we don't have the buses to do that. So either we're gonna have to require those field trips to come back before the school day ends. But like, I know the sixth grade goes to Carnegie Science Center, and like their day is planned out. I already saw their itinerary. They don't get back till like 4 or 4:30, I think.
Contract, I know, I'm just thinking back to like when the girls were in elementary school, there was a field trip or two where we contracted with Campbell's or Schreiber. One of the other bus companies,
Like
I
a
think it was
charter bus.
Campbell's.
Yeah.
No, not a charter bus.
No,
It was
school bus went through those
Yeah,
bus companies, yeah.
correct.
Just for the field.
Just for the field
Yeah,
trips.
we can
to keep our
try.
buses, yeah.
They're also very short-staffed, because we did look into that, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, to see if they had buses to provide us if we came up short, and they were sparse too. I mean, maybe it's improved, I don't know, but everybody's having trouble finding drivers. So, he was gonna reach out to a couple of our contractors and see if there's any possibility of making it work. And not every field trip comes back after the end of the school day, but several of them had put in for that. And like, I hate to cut the kids' trip short, give them a deadline, but we have to run our evening runs too.
and the thing is, you don't know what the weather's gonna be. So you can get all this set up and then the weather impedes everything, so.
Yeah, I mean, the field trips generally happen despite the weather, but, yeah, it's,
But all the
spring is
sporting
going to be
stuff.
very tricky.
On the way the junior high programs overlap makes it a little difficult. Girls' junior high basketball was like late fall into the early winter. Boys' junior high is like late winter into the spring sports. And our varsity and JV programs right smack in the middle. A ninth grade schedule of basketball would go right in the middle. So that would be kind of the only difference right there.
On the co-ops for basketball, you're not considering the junior high programs, right? It's just at the JV varsity level.
We did discuss that, yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Because I know,
So
at
if
least
you all,
our numbers, we
all-
have a lot of boys. We have a lot
Sure.
of boys on junior high. I wasn't sure, and Union didn't have as many. They probably had half what we had, but I was just curious if that was included in that discussion.
At this board's blessing, we would do all of them, but if you decide not to do the junior high, we would deal with that.
And I think it goes back to, we know we have enough, we've had a fantastic season with our junior high boys, but we look at those programs, and we've talked about that multiple times, if one program is struggling and can't support, we wouldn't, not do it just because we have the numbers.
Sure.
If there's a need on the other side, we would take that into consideration.
Currently, the junior high program is operating exactly like we want it to operate. In other words, a lot of kids participating, having fun. It's not as competitive despite what you might hear in the stands sometimes. But it's to see if it's something they want to do. And, once you get moving toward the varsity level, it is work. And so the kids that really, they're okay at it, but they don't enjoy it that much to actually put the work in, they kind of fall away. And that's why you see those numbers really big at the bottom and then kind of working up to, something quite smaller. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
consideration to approve the concert band director job description as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the marching band liaison job description as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Andrea, do you have any federal programs?
I do, I have a quick update. Regarding the PCCD mental and school safety grant, we're still waiting on our award letter. We're not the only district. It's many districts that are waiting award letters on that. So as soon as we do receive that award letter, we can start purchasing items that were approved to be purchased in that grant. And then also, we just received word that the district is eligible for the SRSA grant, which is a Small Rural School Achievement Grant. And that is in the amount of $18,411. And that would be for next school year, 23-24. And this would be for activities that fall under all the title programs. And we're currently working on the application for that and gonna get that submitted.
Is that competitive, or is that just kind of, if we apply, and meet the guidelines, it's ours?
Yes. We do meet the guidelines.
So basically, we just have to put our information in and don't ask for anything,
Correct, yes.
like a vacation to Hawaii, and then we're just good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. David, district report.
Jeff, I just have a couple of things coming out of Harrisburg. First and foremost, the school funding lawsuit. I have an update from PARS. Keep in mind that PARS and 6 other schools have sued the state because of the funding issues associated with Pennsylvania. Judge Jubileer declared that the current school funding system is unconstitutional by not providing equal protection to all students across the Commonwealth. The executive and legislative branches are working to develop a new school funding system. The court's in uncharted territory, so we're not really sure what direction this is going to take. Definitely the goal is to put more resources towards the most poor school districts in the state. The options for reform are limitless. It could go from no changes at all. It could be tied up in court for years. We could have a totally new funding system. But the bottom line is it would take $4.6 billion to get all kids equally funded across the state of Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I hear that it is being discussed, and there's a lot of positives coming out of Harrisburg at this time. More to come on that as we continue to progress through the litigation. A few other updates coming out of Harrisburg. The House Appropriation Committee, they met with the Auditor General, Tim DeFore, and they're taking a look at school fund balances right now. They chose 6 schools across the state that had a little bit extra money in their fund balance, and they're having that discussion right now. There's a lot of changes in Harrisburg as well. There's 102 Democrats and 101 Republicans, so that changes a lot of the legislation that's passing through. The Senate Appropriation Committee, they're scheduling budget hearings as we move forward. We're not really sure as far as what kind of additional funding is coming out of the Shapiro team, but they're working with them as far as the House appropriations as well. A couple bills. There's Senate Bill 196, and that's for PDE to create a more transparent website. It's going to be called School Watch. Senate Bill 227 is a requirement associated with unfunded mandates. So Senator Phillips Hill has a piece of legislation that says that there has to be funding associated with all these unfunded mandates. And that's something we've been arguing for ever. So hopefully there will be some fruition with that bill. Senate Bill 227 is a military education scholarship for students who have parents that are in the military full-time and possibly help them to move around. And then I'll conclude with just an overview of today. We had an Act 80 day. We had a lot of real good presentations. We started off with suicide prevention. We had David DeVoe stop down from Clearing Psych Center. He did a really good presentation for all our staff, not just teachers, cafeteria workers, custodians, bus drivers, van drivers, and it was a really good message. We also had Robin Philman and Ben Browse from IU6 come down here. They worked on curriculum. Ben focused in on math, and Robin continues on with the curriculum for the general education teachers. Our health and PE teachers had a joint professional development day electronically with all Clarion County PE teachers to implement the pedometers and heart rate monitors that I was able to get through the Clarion County COVID committee that I sit on. We were able to get all Clarion County students, grades 9 through 12, Fitbits and heart rate monitors. As a senior graduate, they'll be able to take them with them and promote individual lifetime fitness activities. And that was very well received. Down at the elementary, we did the letters training. We also had Ed Insight in here today. We had Scott Hagee working with our teachers to analyze the current data. We uploaded the PBOS information from last year, so the teachers were able to access that, hopefully utilize that data to shape their instruction. And then finally, we had a CPR recertification. So we had 16 staff members here at AC Valley get their CPR adult, child, and infant certification today through Heather Knopf, and she did an absolutely wonderful job. So Jeff, that concludes my report.
Thank you,
A busy day today. So.
Consideration to approve the 2023-2024 district calendar as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Is this a vote? The enrollment numbers are what they are?
No.
Yeah, just kind of an update.
Face-to-face student enrollment, our cyber service enrollment, ACV cyber service enrollment, outside cyber enrollment, IU classroom enrollment, outside placement enrollment, and homeschool enrollment dated February 15, 23 as attached. And we have our student board representative report.
So just after the last board meeting, the PBIS team at the high school had their mid-year review. They hosted a presentation in the auditorium, and a lot of the students reviewed the PBIS SOAR matrix. I think it was last week, but it was the midpoint of quarter 3. So a lot of students can't believe that the third quarter is almost over. We only have one more quarter to go. And progress reports were sent out last week. Spring sports, as Dr. Jordan had mentioned, they are going to begin here in early March, and that they will include track, softball, baseball, junior high track, junior high volleyball, junior high softball, and then junior high baseball as well. The Snowflake Dance was held on February 4th by Prom Committee as a fundraiser for prom. And the Sadie's Dance was held this past Saturday by Students Council. Macho Volleyball is also going to be held at some point in time this week, just depending on basketball playoff conflicts. And then the High School Musical is going to be held in early March. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Grace. You know, you can also bring questions to us, if there's anything you want to discuss as a student rep. So we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Grace.
Okay, school police report.
It's
see
actually
we have it.
We have the sheet. Okay, we're going to move on to policy, and you can group some of these. I think you can group like second readings and first readings together to save some time. So Eric, would you like to do that for us?
Yes. I'll group the first 2 second readings together. 107 and policy 800.1. So
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
then I can group together first readings.
Mhm.
I would go C through N, is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have to read all the individual numbers?
No,
No, okay.
we got it.
All right. Consideration to approve those policies, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the policies we're looking at? Seeing any, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to facilities. Do we have a maintenance report? I don't think-
Mark's not here.
Mark's not here tonight. Okay, so, Patty, do you want to do transportation?
Sure. Consideration to approve a request from Stan Bailey upon receipt of all appropriate documentation and an interview with administration to add Gidget Larkin as a substitute driver.
Do I have a second?
So moved, sorry.
Okay.
Thanks, Edward.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, Patty, you want to go on with miscellaneous as well?
Sure, maybe. Let me look at it. Career center report. Copy of the unapproved or unapproved minutes are attached.
Great.
Just move on.
Yeah.
Janine, do you have anything to add for the Career Center report?
No, I had a brochure I was gonna send down, and then I forgot all of that. They did do a nice little newsletter. I'll bring it down to the next meeting. They do it quarterly, and they do a wonderful job. And it highlights all the kids that have gone on to competitions and where they stand. We actually have 2 kids going to state competitions, which is wonderful. And I believe they were both from cosmetology. I don't think they were from AC Valley though. But as always, Tracy's doing a wonderful job over there.
Thank you.
Intermediate gimmick report.
Our January meeting was canceled due to weather, and our February meeting is Wednesday. So, thanks for reporting.
Thank you.
Correspondence, copy of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, Benjamin, Chief Division of Subsidy Administration, dated January 26, 2023, regarding resolution of proposed tax rates for the 2023-24 school year is attached. Copy of correspondence from UPMC Women's Center, Robert Ferris, Director, dated January 30th, 2023, regarding donation by Sioux Council for Pink Out Week as attached. Copy of maintenance of effort letter from Pennsylvania Department of Education, Susan Cronin, Chief Division Chief, dated January 19th, 2023, with regard to fiscal ending June 30th, to fiscal year ending in June 2021 as attached. Copy of the final version of Moody's annual issuer comment report for the Allegheny County Clarion Valley District, which is published on Moody's January 27, 2023 is attached. Consideration to approve authorization to participate in Aaron's cooperative purchasing program resolution is attached. I think it's just
No, those are just
so just
updates.
awareness. And
Yes.
Technology committee.
We haven't had a meeting since our last board meeting.
Athletic committee update. We did have
We discussed the current hires and positions that were available and the cooperative agreement.
football field renovation committee update.
We haven't met,
Finance committee update.
and we haven't met yet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any old business? Okay, under new business, one thing we need to have a motion to advertise the part-time, I'm not sure what is that
It's
position
a
called?
district-wide secretary.
Okay. 3 hour per day district-wide secretary's position that's going to be open.
I'll make a motion that we advertise for the vacated 3 hour per day district-wide secretary position.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. I also want to make note that I discussed with the union, and we're planning on March 20th at 4:30 for board members to meet with teachers just for a general discussion. Any board members that want to be involved, if you'll let me know. We've done this in the past.
What time did you say?
4:30. We've done this in the past, and it's just kind of a open session to talk about what we as a board could do better or how we could help. And the teachers can then express, some suggestions they might have. And the last thing that, also another thing that I had was, please let Tammy know if you have any, the school board training for the last year, because we have to make sure we're meeting that if we're audited. So if you've conducted any school, the required, if you were newly elected, you were to have 5 hours. If you were renewed, you were to have 3 hours, so that Tammy has that on record. And the last thing that I have is, do we need to talk about a graduation date at this point, or you're working on it, aren't you, Dr. Jordan, as far as, we're gonna poll the students again to ask their suggestions, or?
I thought we already had discussed that.
We had a date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
had
thought
a
we
date.
discussed it.
We have a date.
Okay, did we set a date?
Yeah, that Wednesday,
Okay,
For Memorial, for Memorial Day.
okay.
Yeah, Wednesday the 24th.
All right, and also board, we have a meeting Thursday night, just an informational meeting about insurance options. And that's what time, Carrie? 5? Okay, just so everybody
Is
knows.
that the Zoom meeting or is that a?
I'm sure we can make it a Zoom meeting if you're, like, Amanda can't make it.
But he's coming, correct?
He's coming, yes.
So it can be, yeah, if you can't join us, it could be Zoom, but he's coming here.
Okay, and Aaron will put the link up.
We will ask Aaron, yes, if we can do that, Aaron.
He's doing the concept.
Okay. I think that's all the notes I wrote down. Any other new business anybody else has we may have missed? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you,
Good
folks.
night.